Today is October 29th, 2019. I am interviewing William Dillman at the Butler VA Medical Center in Butler, PA. Mr. Dillman is 95 years of age. He was born on October 17th, 1924. My name is Chuck Jennings, the interviewer. I am being assisted by Kurt Esmond, the videographer. Mr. Dillman, what was that? Where did you serve? In Italy?
Yeah,
And what was the highest rank you achieved?
PFC.
And that was in the Army, U.S. Army.
Yeah,
Before we go getting started on your military experience, where did you grow up at?
Colton, PA.
And that's roughly, the closest town would be what, Slippery Rock,
Right.
PA? And while you were going to school there, you also worked
I went to West Sunbury High School.
And
Colton
what was the highest,
Elementary.
what was the highest grade you achieved?
10 years.
Now,
10.
and that was what, in about 1941?
Right.
And you were also working at the coal mines at that time too?
No, not at that time.
When you, after you, in 10th grade, did you come out and start in the coal mines?
Right.
So describe what you did basically in the coal mines.
I loaded the coal in the car, took them out to the tipple, and dumped them. And then I loaded the trucks come in, I weighed them, and loaded them.
Now, during that period of time, did you have any other experiences that, you know, any carpenter work or anything that you did around?
Well, my dad was a rough carpenter. I'd work with him when they do carpenter work.
So, it became 1942, and you're 18, and you decided to leave the coal mines. What did you decide to do at that time?
I went to the steel mill in Midland.
And were you a laborer, or what did you do?
Right.
So, being a laborer, you just general contracting work or general work, whatever came up?
Whatever they needed you.
So, you were there about 2 or 3 months, were you not?
Right.
And what happened after that period of time?
Well, I took my second test for the Army and passed, and I was waiting to be called.
So, you kind of quit that job and hung around a little bit.
Right.
During that period of time, did you do anything particular? Or you
No.
just goofed off with a couple other guys? Or
No.
no, go back into the mines and work a little bit?
No.
Okay. At some point, you got your draft notice. And where did you have to report to?
Fort Meade, Maryland.
Well, before that, did you...
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, before you got that, you went down to Pittsburgh, got your physical, and reported there. And what was their opinion where you ought to join back at that time?
Oh,
They wanted you to join the Navy, didn't they?
yeah, but I told her I'd rather die on land.
So they put you in the Army. So where'd you go off from that point?
I went to Fort Meade, Maryland, induction center. From the induction center, I went to Camp Buxton, Kansas, part of Fort Riley.
Well, before we get to that, what did you do in Fort Meade? What went on there?
We just got inducted and got our clothes and got our orders to where to go.
Yeah. Well, it was what? You stand in line, they gave you 3 shirts, and
Right,
you
right.
just walked on around. And did you get your shots there too, or?
I can't remember that.
So you caught a train, and where'd you take the train to?
Camp Buxton, Kansas,
And who were you attached to at that time?
9th Armored Division.
And it was the 15th of the 39th or
539th Armored Infantry Battalion.
And what did they teach you? Or what,
Well, regular basic Army training.
did they teach you to work with tanks and half tracks? Or?
No, no. Just infantry training.
Was any of it difficult for you?
No.
So, at some point, the 9th Armored moved out, and you're 150,
No, 139. 539.
539, thank you. Decided to stay at the camp. What happened to you at that point?
Well, they decided to send us on to different units, replacements. I ended up in Camp Hale, Colorado.
And what was Camp Hale, Colorado designed to do?
It was teaching you mountain fighting.
And what all does that entail?
It taught you skiing, rock climbing, rifle range,
So,
more or less infantry training.
cold weather infantry training.
Right.
So, describe what the camp was like, what the buildings were like.
Well, they were army barracks, and there was 2-story, and at night we had to water the floors down because the air was so dry. In the morning, the water would be all gone.
What altitude were you working at?
Huh?
What altitude were you working at the camp? What was it? What was the altitude?
It was 10,000 feet above sea level.
So the air started to get thin for you.
Yeah.
Now, explain. They just handed you a set of skis and said go skiing, or how did you come to learn how to ski?
Well,
Or
They give us a breaking-in period, which before we was transferred to our regular companies. We went out on a camping trip to see how we could take it, and we were taught different types of skiing. It was mostly controlled skiing to show you the snowplow and different turns.
now, at that point, once you passed that, then you went to your company.
Right.
So as time went on during that period, what were some of the other exercises they had you doing up at the Camp Hale?
Still, we went out on them skis. We did cross-country skiing. We did skiing, climbing the mountains with the skis on, you know. We'd go one way and then go traverse the other way.
Well, tell me about some bivouacs at night. Tell me about what was going on there.
Well, sometimes it would rain. We weren't allowed to build fires, but we built them anyhow. Because you'd stand by that fire and get dry in front, you'd be wetting back. Then you'd have to turn around back. We stood up all night long, getting dried out. And then and sometimes you'd sleep out on top of the snow. And in the mornings you had to get up and get in line again. You had to have all your equipment right. And it was pretty hard to do when it was froze. At night, you took your shoes off and held them up next to your chest in your sleeping bag so it wouldn't be frozen in the morning when you got up.
Now, your shoes, were they?
They were regular ski boots.
Okay, they were ski boots.
Yeah.
They weren't like the Army brown shoes.
Yeah.
So, what other things come to mind when you were with the 10th Mountain up there working? Anything else comes to mind that happened?
There's several things that I just can't think of.
So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Like the mountain tents, I told you that one guy would carry the poles, your buddy would carry the tent, and he'd backpack. And the tents were made something like oilcloth. and you could heat the tent with a big candle.
So, what were you, I'm sure they told you that the 10th Mountain was a particular kind of unit. What were your feelings?
No,
about
they never brought that up.
Never brought that up. It was
No.
like a separate entity than
No.
regular.
The only guy that really, the German officers said he liked division. You know, with special training. One officer claimed he never fought the division any better than the 10th Mountain.
Well, at some point, they figured you got tired of the cold weather. Where did they send you to?
Camp Swift, Texas.
And what went on there?
Well, we took regular infantry training. We went on battle problems. We went on
Maneuvers?
maneuvers. We went on that machine gun shooting over our heads.
The infiltration course.
We went on rifle ranges.
How'd you do in the rifle range?
I wasn't very good at rifle.
So, when you say, did you go red arm, blue arm, red arm against each other kind
Yes,
of thing?
yes.
In big maneuvers?
Yes.
And, I mean, did they have you going up in the mountains or?
No, we never had that. No.
Okay. And although you did have some problems with some animals in Texas,
Armadillos.
what was the story on the armadillo?
Well, we'd dug foxholes and at night they'd fall in them. Next day, morning, we'd have to get them out. They'd make an awful noise when they fell in.
And there was reptiles there too, were there
Yeah,
not?
copperhead.
And what about the copperheads?
Well, if you found one, there's a body near it.
Yeah, they stuck kind of close. You made it through all that period of time. At some point, did you get a chance to come home from Texas, or?
Right.
And what did you do when you? Explain how you got home.
Well, we got on a train in Austin, Texas. Took us 26 hours to get to St. Louis, Missouri. There we got a train to Pittsburgh. Took us 3 days to get home.
Well, you had said when you left Texas, you were standing on the outside of the
I was
train.
on the vestibule where you get on the train. Me and a kid from Pittsburgh, he had one of these little traveling bags. He laid it down on the floor of the vestibule and he sat on it. When we got off the train, he picked it up and the bottom fell out of it.
So you finally made it home. You got to Pittsburgh. Would you catch
I'd catch a bus to Slipper Rock,
okay.
and then I'd have to walk home.
So that time you spent at home, what did you do?
Oh, went to different things.
Do you have buddies or friends, or they were all in
No,
service?
mostly everybody was in the Army. My cousins were all in. We didn't have no money for gas. We couldn't get gas because it's ration.
Mhm.
They give us 1 stamp for 5 gallons of gas. That was to do,
Everything.
yeah.
So your leave came up, and you took you another 3 days to get back.
Right.
Once you got back, what happened at the camp?
Well, then we would move to Patrick Henry, Virginia, Norfolk.
So what did they move you there for?
We went to get on the South American ship to go overseas.
Now, did you go in a convoy? Were you set by yourself, or how did the ship go across?
We had the regiment on the ship.
Did they have other convoy ships with it, or you were the only?
We was the only one.
So she was a fast ship.
South American ship.
So, in your living conditions, how many bunks did you have above
There
you?
were double bunks.
So you had 2 bunks.
And there was rows of them for different.
And it wasn't a very nice crossing, was it?
You got seasick.
Go into that a little bit, and some of the experiences you had on board while you were seasick. Down where you got KP one time, and
We spent time up on deck watching flying fish. Some people don't believe that, but they did fly.
so at one point you had to mess duty or something? And
What's that?
At some point you had mess duty, KP?
Yeah, but I got too sick, I couldn't perform it.
Yeah, they dragged you out from underneath
Yeah.
the table. So what did you eat during that period of time? Crackers? Or?
Not much of anything. I can't remember eating anything.
Yeah, it was like a 14-day crossing, was it
Yeah.
not?
Right.
So, let's go. Were the mules in Texas? Was that?
Right,
It
right.
wasn't over in Europe. Well, let's go back to this mule herding thing back at Texas. And
The picket line.
yeah, well, I don't know.
They
Somehow
come in-
you got mules. How
They
did you get
come
them?
in by train loads. And we would pick them up at the train and take them up to the company picket line. That's where they would, but pretty all of them got away from us. It was wild.
So, at some point you had to load packs on them and stuff. What about your particular mule?
I don't understand.
What about your particular mule that you had?
Oh, he was wild. I never did get him broke.
So you put a like the
You had to put on a big heavy saddle on him. When you lifted the saddle to put on him, his ears would come back. And then when the saddle hit him, right over his head.
Nothing else. Oh yeah. When one time they got away from you, and they had to send a
They
piper
had, they had to
come
get a plane, biplane, all around Texas to round them all up, spot them, you know.
up? Yeah.
Then they,
Send you out to get them.
yeah.
After that, you also talked about the weather sometimes. You'd be marching somewhere and all of a sudden,
Big burst of rain, and then the sun would shine real bright. Just like a few seconds, it just come down in a downpour. The next thing, it would be sunshine.
now, that's after that period, you went home, then you went back up to Norfolk and crossed the ship.
Right.
So, let's go back to, you're crossing the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
Where did you come into? Did you see the Rock of Gibraltar go by? Or was that at night?
Yes.
What were you thinking? It's the first time you ever saw something like that.
I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. You were scared. You didn't. You know something was coming up.
Well, on board ship. I mean, you're a country boy back in the back, and all of a sudden you're on a big old ship,
Yeah.
and it didn't impress you, or
No.
no.
No, not whatsoever.
So, where did the ship end up taking you?
Naples. Yeah.
And you disembarked at Naples,
Right.
and so. Once you got disembarked, what happened at that point?
They took us up to an old army unit place.
No,
No windows in the house, cement floors. We had to lay on them cold cement floors. We wasn't there very long. We went by ship up to Livorno, Italy.
And
That was on the Mediterranean.
yeah, was it a big ship or was
No, it was just a small Italian freighter.
So you landed there, and where did you go to from that? Did you relieve anybody or in December?
No. We went from there to the front line. We relieved an aircraft battery that they had no use for it anymore because there was no planes. But we relieved them on the front lines.
Now, what was how did you get designated first scout? All right, let's go into that story.
What's that?
How did you get picked for first scout?
How did I get picked for everything?
Just lucky.
I don't know whether they thought I was good
Or dumb?
or dumb or what, but
Well, this is around December sometime. But tell me about the church steeples. Every town had a church steeple. And what did you get assigned to do when?
well, you had to go in there with a walkie-talkie, your rifle, and high field glasses, and you went up an old rickety ladder, and it was open up there, but there was a bell there, and you spotted for German.
Now the ladders, they weren't just regular ladders. They made them out of whatever.
Oh, yeah, old piece of limbs of trees. I didn't know where to trust them or not.
So you were down there December and January. Then you got assigned to go to the Po Valley, I'm sorry.
No, we were still in the Apennines there.
Okay.
And that's when I got up in the Apennines and got wounded.
So explain that story.
Well, I was first scout, and the second scout was Wahhazi. We were told to two bank barns on the edge of the valley. We were to clear them and then move back up to a regular position. When we got up to the regular position, I got under artillery fire. A shell landed about maybe 30 or 40 yards down on the valley like and come up over. Well, then I get up to move out, I couldn't move my leg. I looked down and I'd been hit.
Now, did your buddy get you back down the
I
other
didn't
side?
see my buddy after that. I don't know where he was.
Now, how did you get back to?
I walked down over the hill, I met the medics. The medics dressed my wound, and then I was put on a Jeep. Well, they had a rack on it on the driver's side. There was guys in the back seat, I in the front seat, and the driver. They took us to the MASH unit.
So, at the MASH unit, what happened?
Well, I laid there for a day before I was operated on.
Now,
After I was operated on, in a day or two, I was moved to Livorno, Italy, to the 12th General Hospital. There, I stayed until I was discharged, and I moved to Pisa to a rehabilitation center.
now at that center,
Oh,
it
and
was right next to the tower Pisa, was it not?
Right, Leaning Tower.
Leaning Tower Pisa. So,
There we did close order drill, and I had my knee taken care of every day. And then one night at supper time, after supper, they hauled for all the 10th Mountain boys to be ready to move out. So we went back to the front lines. We're still in the edge of going into the Po Valley then.
Now, the reason for the pulling everybody out who was still in rehab and things was they just fought a major battle.
Fierce fighting. They had lost a lot of men, and we had to go in and replace them. We went back to our old company.
So, were the boys glad to see the first scout back?
Oh, I don't know. They wanted me to be second in command, and I told them no.
So, what happened during the next couple weeks, once you got back?
Well, we broke through the Apennines. We hit the Po Valley. And the Po Valley, we rode trucks, back of tanks. We were 30 miles above it before anybody else. They could have come in behind us and got us off, but they didn't do it. I don't know, the Germans kept going back.
Well, did they set up roadblocks a little bit to stop you guys?
No.
No. Just falling back.
They seemed to think, must be the end.
Let's jump back during that period of time, your hospital stay at Pizza. There was a favorite song that you finally picked up at Pizza.
Yeah, a Great Speckled Bird by Roy Acuff.
And that helped you later on during some hard times.
Yeah, when tears would come to my eyes sometimes, I think of it.
So, it's at some point there was a hillside with a valley in it, a lake, and a small town, and the other side of the hill.
That was Lake Guardia, and Tarbolia was the town.
Let's go into Tarbolia. What happened there?
Well, we went in there and first we waited all day for the planes to bomb and strafe the town. Well, we went in there house to house fighting. And like I told, I captured 11 Germans. I had no place to put them. I seen this place under the road that was timbered. I put them down in there. I stood guard all night long. And like I told, this one German come up and talked to me. And he told me they must be taking kids in the army now. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, you're nothing but a kid. And I told him, well, if I'm a kid, you take off and I'll show you what a kid can do. Well, that ended that. Well, the next day, I brought them up out of there in the morning, and the one handed me a hand grenade. Well, I took it and I threw it down in the woods. And I took the prisoners off with the headquarters company, and I gave them to them. I don't know what they did with them. And then from then on, we kept going higher into the Alps. And in the Alps, we met no resistance, nothing. Like I said, we come to this road, there was 3 Germans lying, they had to be placed there. Well, we went around them, and when we got where we were supposed to go, they told us to dig in. We couldn't dig in because it's nothing but concrete,
Hard rock.
hard rock. So next day we went up farther, and we got to stand in these houses with, I tell you, we met no resistance from Tarboli, none. Well, on that night we heard a plane going over, and the lieutenant come in and told us to stay in the house, and that was the plane that would carry them up to sign the peace treaty.
So, once the peace treaty was signed, you just didn't go home right away.
No, we went
you
to the
went-
hot spot.
Yeah. Explain some of those hot spots that you went to.
Well, we went to, we didn't go to the Brenner Pass, it was in this side. Our job was to keep the Germans from going up and helping the other Germans. Well, then we got word that Yugoslavia was taking over the port of Trieste. Well, we went by truck over there. That was to our right. When we got over there, they had taken an Italian partisan, that's an Italian fighter. They took him prisoner. Well, our platoon surrounded the building, and the lieutenant went in and got him released. But then Yugoslavian women had all kinds of ammunition on their personal, and they was ready for action.
They were partisans, were they not?
Yeah.
You know, fighters.
They were good fighters after. They were no good as an Italian army, but as a partisan, you couldn't beat them.
Was there any other places that you went to after that?
After that, we went back to Britannia, Italy. We was there for a while, and then we went back to, I forget where we got on the ship to come back to the United States. But it was on one of them victory ships. And it would go way up in the waves, then all at once at the bottom, the thing just fall out and down you'd come.
Yeah, she was a flat bottom boat, basically.
And it was small. Just a few, well, maybe a company or so was on it, you know. We come back to Patrick Henry. We were going to, then we went to Camp Carson, Colorado.
Well, before that, let's go into your crossing. As you said, it wasn't a smooth crossing. Did you get sick this time, or did you learn something?
You mean coming back?
Yeah.
I learned to eat. And it was rough, but I didn't get sick.
Also, just before the war ended, the sergeant who had taken you all the way through combat.
And Sergeant Ford, he got killed 3 days before the war ended in Italy.
How did that come about?
Well, one of them SS black uniform shot him. He was a good guy. He's one of the best.
So, at that point, you got back to Norfolk, Camp Patrick Henry. And what happened at that point? Were you discharged?
No, we were sent to Camp Carson, Colorado. There at Camp Carson, we had to go back home for another furlough. Well, then we had to go back to Camp Carson. When we went back to Camp Carson, they deactivated the division. And I was sent to Trinidad, Colorado, to German war prisoner camp.
Yeah.
I was a guard. We was known as MPs then.
And the duty was pretty nice duty at that time, was it not?
Oh, it's beautiful.
You had 1 day on,
One day of guard duty and a week off.
and that week off, what did you do? I mean,
Went into town.
they have a movie theater there, or?
No, I didn't go to no movie theater. We went to restaurants and met women.
Few drinking establishments.
Yeah.
That reminds me about the story about a Mexican senorita.
Yeah, she wanted me to marry her.
Well, she made a stipulation first, didn't she? She wanted to see
She
what?
wanted to know how much money I had. I told her $600, and she wanted to go to New Mexico and get married. I didn't even know her first name.
Well, at some point, in December 15th of 45, you made your way home for the last time. And what did you do when you got home?
I went back.
You got discharged in 45.
I went back with my dad in the coal mine.
Didn't stay there very long, did you?
3 years.
You got tired knees, or
Huh?
you just get tired knees, or you figure,
Well, I got married and the coal mine is kind of a seasonal job. I had to make a living for my wife then. So I went to Boyer's and got a job at the mine, limestone mine.
and that was underground.
Yeah.
So you drilled and put charges in? Or?
No, I was a roustabout. I run shuttle car, loader, track man, did all. We did the fill-in for vacations and stuff.
Wherever needed.
Yeah.
You put 10 years in there. Then,
Yeah.
then what? You heard about U.S. Steel, or?
Well, that was U.S. Steel.
Oh,
Okay, they shut it down and they transferred us to Elwood City, to U.S. Steel.
yeah, that's a little north of
And-
Pittsburgh.
There I run a tube reducing machine.
You spent what, 16 years there?
Yeah, right.
Now, your last job was at a limestone mine. in
Well,
Canada.
the U.S. Steel shut Elwood City down, and I got a job at Branchton at Mercer Lime and Stone Company. I spent 12 years there, and then I retired.
They made what, lime for fertilizer and,
They made agricultural lime and lime for steel mills, for making steel.
now, during that period of time that you worked, you got married, apparently, you know, somewhere in 48, 47, something like that.
Yeah,
And through that marriage, how many children did you have?
4.
And they were what, 3 girls?
3 girls and a boy.
Now, unfortunately, one of the girls
Died at 8 years old.
and just recently you had another death of another girl. She was what, 62?
Yeah.
Now, how many grandchildren do you have?
How many was it?
Grandchildren
5.
and great-grandchildren?
4.
At this time, is there anything that you would like to add that we didn't cover?
No, I think I covered a lot.
I certainly want to thank you for your service to this nation. Thank you very much. You guys did a fantastic job.
You know, I was proud to serve.
That brings back another question. Was there anything from the service that you brought forward to your own life?
No, nothing.
Nothing. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.